Hi folks, and welcome back to Broadside Gaming with me, Zug. So, I promised an alternative to the Bull Knight build, and here it is. This isn't the defensive one though. That recording went a bit wrong, and we have to redo it. This is the more aggressive build. So, let's jump in and I'll show you what's going on. So, we are using a slightly different bully club. It's still the Brunt Basher Mark 3B, but this time we've changed the blessings on it. So first of all, we'll take a look at the modifiers. We're going for damage, mobility, finesse, and penetration, lol, at 80, and defense at 60 being our dump stat, because who cares about defense? The best defense is a good offense. Somebody definitely said that at some point. And for the perks, we're going for 25% damage to flak armored enemies, because flak armor is the most prevalent armor type in the game. And we're also going for plus 25% damage to carapaced armored enemies, which is going to help us deal with those pesky crushers. So, there is something you can do here, but I highly advise against it. You can drop flak armored enemies for 10% to elites, though this will hamper you slightly when you are fighting against basically everything else in the game that has flak armor, which is most things. So you can go that route. I just advise against it. Now, blessings. We're going for Skull Crusher, which is the same as the last one, which gives us target receives 4 stacks of plus 10% damage if already staggered, last 5 seconds. You're an Ogryn, you're a stagger machine. So this is going to give you plus 40% damage on your second swing if nobody else has already staggered it. And of course, momentum. Now, this is going to give us a bit more defense because it's going to allow us to farm back toughness when we're fighting hordes. This is an incredibly good horde weapon. It's got lots of lovely wide swings, and this is going to help us just farm that toughness back in those situations. Not so good against single targets, but hopefully, well, especially if you're playing on higher difficulties, it's very rare you're going to be against a single target unless you are just fighting against, say, a Chaos Spawn or a Plague Ogryn. And then we're going for the Grenade Gauntlet again. And I still haven't updated this. But for the modifiers, please do switch melee damage and ammo. Ammo needs to be at 80, melee damage needs to be your dump. I just haven't found one yet that has the correct modifiers on it. So, ammo, blast damage, blast radius, and penetration, blast, lol, are all at 80, while melee damage is at 60. Perk-wise, we're going for plus 25% damage to Maniacs because we need it to hit those breakpoints to one-shot trappers and flamers and such. And we're also going for damage to flak armored enemies because flak armor is the most prevalent armor type in the game. I'm going to say it every single goddamn time. Now, blessings. We're going for pinpointing target plus 8% strength every 0.4 seconds while aiming stacks 5 times. Discharge all stacks upon firing. So, how does that work? Well, you brace with your right mouse button. You are bracing the weapon now. And as you can see down there, it's stacked up to 5. You fire, and it discharges all the stacks. And it does stack up pretty damn quickly, so you can try and get those 5 stacks on every shot. It's not always going to be possible, but if you can, try and hold on to it to get that much damage. But if you are sniping, say, trappers, just fire at them. You need them to go away, because they are one of the most dangerous things to an Ogryn in this game, because we're massive. Now, the other blessing. The other blessing is Explosive Offensive. You get plus 15% strength bonus for 5 seconds after hitting multiple enemies with your weapon's special explosion. The special explosion is accessed through your extra button. Mine is on my mouse. It's mouse button 4, and that looks like this. And that gives you the blessing. Now, when do you want to be using this? You want to be using this in mixed hordes. This is what you want to use when you are fighting against Ragers. In those mixed hordes, you want to target the Rager with this ability, and it should clear out all the trash around it while you're doing it. Of course, if you run out of ammo, it won't explode. I've actually I'm liking the Grenade Gauntlet again, and I'm literally only using this because one of our delightful commenters asked for, well, they were hoping the the rumbler would explode on impact instead of just rattling off. And that's basically the grenade gauntlet. So there you go. Now, for the curios, we are using 3 17% toughness curios. 2 of them have plus 5% toughness, plus 20% damage resistance to snipers, and all 3 have damage resistance to gunners. Now, the last one has 5% max health instead of damage resistance snipers, just to give us slightly more defense. Now, if you're not playing on Damnation and Damnation Auric, you could drop the damage resistance to snipers. This is more for those difficulties when you're not really facing one sniper, you're facing 4 or 5 in some sort of disgusting sniper alley. This is going to help you when you just can't avoid that damage, because sometimes you can't. But if you're only facing 1 or 2, you can just dodge mostly. So it's completely up to you how you want to use them. You can go for 3 of them like this, or you can go for 2 and 1 like I have here. Now, the second most important thing after the weapons and before the talents is your outfit. You always want to look good. Anyway, talents. First of all, we're going for Furious. For each enemy you hit during the same heavy melee attack, you gain 2.5% damage on your next melee attack. Now, you're going to see a pattern here. We are taking everything we can to maximize our damage. The best defense, replenish 20% toughness after hitting multiple enemies with a single heavy melee attack. This is going to help with momentum on a weapon as well. Into toughness boost, into smash 'em, replenish 20% toughness after hitting a single enemy with a heavy melee attack. Into heavy weight, the best talent in the tree, and if anyone tells you otherwise, you just ignore them. Plus 30% damage against bulwarks, crushers, plague ogrins, and reapers. Also receive plus 30% damage reduction against the same. And then we're going to linchpin, toughness replenishment while incoherence is increased by 50%. There will always be somebody in the group who has main character syndrome and will run off on their own. There's nothing we can do about this, apart from play with a pre-made group, but, you know. Then another toughness boost here. We're taking both 25% toughness into bombs away. Now, the reason we're taking bombs away is not because it's good, because it isn't great. The big friendly rock and the frag bomb are both better. Although with this build, we don't need the big friendly rock because the grenade gauntlet is basically a reloadable big friendly rock. We are taking bombs away so that we can take both slam and soften them up, and also access both nodes here for toughness. So, bombs away, it's basically the vanilla Ogryn blitz ability. Throw a box of grenades with great strength and enthusiasm to deal high damage to a single enemy. Hitting an enemy causes the box to break open, releasing 6 grenades around the target. So, you get 2 of these, you use it exactly how you would the big friendly rock, you aim for the face, kill your target, and everything around it then explodes. It's very good at disrupting big hordes, but you do only get 2 of them, which is sad. I mean, I kind of think it should be up to 3, but, you know, fat shark do fat shark things. So, that is your blitz ability. And then, as I said, we're going into slam, which gives us plus 25% impact bonus on melee attacks. Impact is basically stagger. They just have, it's like rending and brittleness. They're the same thing, apart from you apply brittleness and rending is inherent to you. So impact is inherent to you, you apply stagger. And of course, soften them up. Enemies damaged by you take 15% more damage for 5 seconds. And then we're grabbing the toughness boost here and the toughness boost here. And also the toughness damage reduction in the middle. So we're trying to maximize the amount of damage we can do while also maximizing our defense without sacrificing either. Then we're taking in Indomitable, charge forward with great force, knocking back enemies and staggering them. Gain plus 25% attack speed and 25% movement speed for 5 seconds. Charge is stopped on collision with a monstrosity. Now, I always show this, but it's for people who are new to the game. When you use Indomitable, you don't have to just carry on charging. You can stop exactly when you need to by literally pressing the S key when you want to stop, which allows you to hit straight against your target, stop, and beat them to death while they're still getting up. Now, you don't always have to do this. If you just want to charge and disrupt, obviously just let it go the entire duration. But that is how you charge to a point that you need to get to. And then we've got Stomping Boots, replenish 10% toughness per enemy hit with Indomitable. And then you have your choice of add-on. I tend to go for Trample, which for each enemy hit by Bull Rush, you gain a stack of Trample. Trample increases your base damage by 2% for 8 seconds, stacking to a maximum of 25, which if you manage to get everything with it, you will get 50% extra damage for 8 seconds. Or you can go the defensive route, apply 5 stacks of Bleed on enemy hit by Indomitable, which also pairs up very nicely with Delight and Destruction, which gives us plus 8% damage resistance per bleeding enemy in melee range, stacks 6 times. So, whatever your choice of poison is here, pick it. I would suggest trying both and see which one you prefer. With all of these builds, these are not set in stone. If you want to customize them, please do go ahead. Not every build is right for every person. And then we're going into 5% rending here, which is basically 5% increased damage, into health boost down here for more defense, and then we're picking up Batter, inflict plus 4 stacks of bleed on heavy melee hit, which again is going to help us with Delight Destruction. Then down into heavy melee damage here, into Bonebreaker's Aura, which gives us plus 10% heavy melee attack damage for you and your allies in Coherency, into melee damage boost here, and picking up plus 15 toughness here. God, I wish it was 15%. And then down into Delight and Destruction, which we just touched on, which gives you plus 8% damage resistance per bleeding enemy in melee range. And then into Dominate, which gives us plus 10% rending for 10 seconds on elite kill. Again, it's about 10% damage. Into Toughness damage reduction here. Into Implacable, which gives us plus 15% damage reduction while charging melee attacks, into heavy melee damage boost here, and into heavy hitter. Now, this gives us plus 5% damage for 7.5 seconds on heavy attack hit, stacks 5 times. And then we can pick up just getting started. While heavy attack is at 5 stacks, you gain 10% attack speed. Now, this is an incredibly aggressive build. As you can see, we're missing a few of the usual talents we take, which are either Get Stuck In and Bruiser, or Attention Seeker and Payback Time, and also Too Stubborn to Die. This is for being able to tank damage on yourself by having incredibly high amounts of toughness, health, and our ability to regenerate that toughness. We're also taking a lot less damage with toughness damage reduction nodes all through the tree. So we are basically face tanking everything. And with Momentum, which gives us 15% toughness regeneration on multiple target hits, and also the best defense, and also Smash 'em, we are able to regenerate a lot of toughness very, very quickly. Especially if you add in Linchpin and all the other sundry sort of talents through the tree. So this is an incredibly aggressive build, and I really like it, to be honest. It's a very fun build to play with. If you haven't used the Bully Club before, it will take a little bit of getting used to because the swings are slightly odd. But once you kind of get the pattern down, they're quite diagonal swings. But you do have access to an overhead, which is accessed through the block push. And you can just repeat that over and over if you need to on a single target. But there you go, folks. That is the incredibly aggressive Bull Knight Rush build. I hope you like it, and if you do, please do like and subscribe. Ring that bell for notifications. It really does help us out. And I shall see you all for the next one. So until then, take it easy, and I'll see you later.